good morning or good afternoon, depending on the time zone you're in. I'm Tom Wright. I'm the Director of Office of Loan Guarantee, and I welcome you to this webinar. I got a couple of opening comments before we move into staff introductions. First thing that I know a lot of you have been concerned with over the course of the last year with the closing of the office in the month of March is what are we doing, what action are we taking to correct this? Well, we have sent out a Dear Tribal Leader letter introducing an increase in the loan guarantee fee. We're asking for comments from the leaders. They have 30 days to come back with us. We're hoping and anticipate that we will implement an increase in the fee in the first quarter of FY 2014. Many of you have also inquired about loan limits. Yes, we introduced our own loan limits in FY 13. In late November, early December, we anticipate coming out with the new rates for this year. The rates are based on census data of sales that have taken place in the fiscal year. So this data will determine it. We are not tied to FHA. Please keep that in mind. The budget question is something that's big, and it matters to all of us. We will not have an actual budget until we see Congress pass either the budget itself or a CR. We anticipate the funding will be consistent with what we've seen over the last few years, which means that we should have plenty of funding for FY 14, and we feel very good about what we're seeing at this point. Something new will be introduced in October of 2014, and it's related to the training of staff. After the 15th of October, we will ask the DG lenders to do their own training of staff and any correspondence that you bring on after that date. This is something that we recognize the problem that exists by having certificates out there and not offering new training. Therefore, there will no longer be certificates offered. And this is a big change and a departure from prior practice, but it's something we think will be beneficial and make it much easier for lenders coming into the program. Now, if I may, I'd like to do staff introduction, and I will begin with Krista Johnson.
Hello, I'm Krista Johnson. I am a loan guarantee specialist. I concentrate my efforts on underwriting loans that are sent into HUD, also working on policy and endorsement of your closed loans.
Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Scott LaLiberty. On the origination side, I assist with the issuance of cases and direct guarantee firm commitments. I also help process the loan guarantee fees. On the servicing side, I am responsible for assisting with the receipt of sales proceeds and confirmation of claims payments.
Good afternoon. My name is Thelma Pillay. I am a loan guarantee specialist. I manage servicing. I work with loss mitigation with all of our lenders. I also work with the tribal housing authorities. I work with the resales of those homes that end up being assigned back to the Office of Loan Guarantee in which the borrowers have failed on their mortgage payments. I work with the Department of Justice, submitting reports or claims to them that actually need to be foreclosed on, and that would be the tribal trust land properties, because otherwise you as a servicer, you're responsible for the fee simple properties and the actual foreclosures. I also am responsible for gathering the monthly reporting that comes in on a consistent basis on the delinquencies to ensure that we're putting forth our best efforts to try and mitigate those processes. And I work with the Section 184A program with DHHL in Hawaii.
Good afternoon. My name is Sean Patton, and I'm assisting Scott and Thelma with loss mitigation.
My name is Brian Thompson. I deal with claims payments and REO dispositions of properties.
Hello, my name is Bob Lamp. I manage the Title VI program. Title VI is basically a 95% loan guarantee to tribes or their designated housing authorities for development. The program works very well and ties in very well with Section 184.
Hi, my name is Matt Douglas. I'm a loan guarantee specialist, and I primarily work on policy and correspondence.
Good morning. I'm Yvonne Johnson from the Atlanta, Georgia office. I too am a loan guarantee specialist, and I underwrite the loans you submit to HUD as one of the HUD underwriters. I work with Valerie Wright in training the new direct guarantee underwriters and approving the test cases. I also work directly with many of you in issuing the loan guarantee certificates for your requests for endorsement files.
Thanks, Yvonne. Good morning or good afternoon. I'm Valerie Wright, Loan Guarantee Specialist, working out of Philadelphia office. I handle, working closely with Yvonne, the test case process for our new DG underwriters and those that are looking for recertification, in addition to endorsing loans once they have closed. Also instrumental in working on policy procedure for the lenders as well as in-office procedures.
Hello, everybody. I'm Deanna Lucero out of the Denver, Colorado office. I train policy development, underwriting, and endorsement, and I'm looking forward to presenting to you all today our first webinar.
Hello, I'm Andrika Wagstaff, and I assist the office on many different functions. However, my primary responsibilities are endorsing tribal trust loans and endorsements from the lenders, all the lenders.
Hello, everybody. We're back. Hopefully you can see us. We cannot see you. First and foremost, I want to thank you all for signing up and participating or being willing to participate today. Just so that you know, we have 310 folks that signed in. So, of course, that tells us that you are still enamored with our program, and we appreciate all that you do. This is our first webinar and our first go at training, or not training, but providing information to you all via this method. At the conclusion of this event today, we are actually going to ask you to evaluate it. We want to know if you like this style. You know, as you all know, recently we've been hit with some budget constraints, and we don't have the ability to go out and train like we used to do. Trust me, we enjoyed it. We appreciated your attendance, but this may be the wave of the future. Okay, before I get started with details, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping. First and foremost, we can't see you, you can see us. So you can raise your hand if you want. However, I will not know that you're asking a question. So how do you ask a question? You type into the 184 webinar at HUD.gov, which is exactly how you signed up for this session. Please type your question. Please be as brief as possible, but directly to the point. If at all possible, don't ask questions specific to a loan. Ask a general program question, okay? Throughout this session, we're going to attempt to answer your questions. So what will happen is the questions will come in. Krista Johnson will read the questions to us, and they will be answered accordingly. What questions we're not able to answer and or address, we will provide at a later date. We will provide the response to everybody who signed up for this session, okay? When we set up the session, we allocated 4 hours because that's what the building allowed us to do. We're not sure we'll take the entire 4 hours, but we will definitely not exceed it, okay? So as we progress, you have the PowerPoint that was sent to you. We'll address the slides on the PowerPoint. At the conclusion of this event, every tool or reference that we will discuss will be provided to you in a zip drive, and it will also be available on our website. Okay? We will take a break. So throughout the session, we'll take a break. The sign will come up saying that we're on break and allow you 2 to 5 minutes so that we can switch speakers, switch topics, and then move forward. Okay? I wanted to say something that and historically, for those of you, many of you know me, I've been with the program now for 16, 17 years. And oftentimes people say, well, Deanna said, and then I would go on to say, well, no, please put it in writing, right? Deanna did an email. Well, today you can probably say Deanna said, because this is being recorded, so. So there you go. Okay, so that's some introductions. What to expect? What to expect is we're going to go over some program updates. We are going to try to address some issues or items that frequently come up that you all don't realize, you individually are asking, but we get hit or requested the same question multiple times. We're going to try to address that today. The reason the 4 of us are sitting at this table is all 4 of us are going to present to you today. So you'll see that we'll be interacting, and you'll just get some advice from different staff members. Okay? As I said earlier, this is probably going to be our future for delivery of program updates. Coming soon, what we're hoping to do is another webinar that will talk specifically about underwriting updates. We're going to address, Tom kind of alluded that in October, he said October 2014, but what he meant was fiscal year 2014, which commences in October. So in October, we're probably going to have some other updates. We're going to attempt to approach them via a webinar. The other webinar that we're discussing, I'm going to put some materials together, is for construction. As we all know, there's 3 different ways to approach construction on the 184. One is single close construction, which is unique to our program. Secondly, will be a home that has started construction and now you're asking for us to be the takeout. And thirdly, will be a new home that was constructed less than a year ago. So we're hoping to do a webinar specifically on how to address those. Okay? And third, and definitely not least or last, will be a webinar specifically on the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Andrika is what we consider today to be our TSR specialist. She deals primarily with all the BIA offices and the BIA office here in headquarters. So ideally, Andrika would like to do a webinar and address just issues with the title status report. Because as we all know, the primary focus of the 184, right, was to bring mortgage capital to Indian communities. And by definition, our primary focus was on reservation. We want to bring mortgage capital to underserved areas. So when we're dealing with tribal trusts or allotted lands, there's different things to consider, whether it's the title status report, it's the lease, it's the land development, water and septic, et cetera. So again, we'd like to have a session just to address those issues. That's about it. Introductions? Okay. Last but not least, again, I think I stated earlier, at the end of this session, we're going to ask you all to complete an evaluation. The purpose of the evaluation is to, one, tell us, did you like this form of training? Or, I keep saying training, and I'm sorry, everybody, I can't say training. This form of presentation. Did you enjoy it? Did you appreciate it? Did you find it a good use of your time? When we conclude and we provide you all the materials, were you able to access them? at a later date, are you able to watch this because it's supposed to be recorded and reserved. So we'll ask you to let us know all that via the survey/evaluation. Okay. Tom introduced the staff. In addition to the introduction, we have updated our staff directory. The staff directory will identify, of course, everybody's name, their job title, their location, their address, their phone number, etc. That, again, will be handed to you or provided to you at the end of the presentation. Okay. Okay, the slide that you're looking at now on the PowerPoint basically says, what do we have for 2014? The purpose of this slide is to give you a reassurance or a comfort that we are not shutting down like we did last year, that in fact we will be fully operational starting, well, we're operational now, but as of October 1, we'll be receiving $5.25 million in loan guarantee authority. In addition to that funding, we have our carryover. Those funds, we're still trying to determine what the actual carryover is, but we do know in fact that we will have a carryover. The numbers that you see below that are basically what we have endorsed through August 28th of 2013. So obviously it does not include September numbers. Again, leading the way for our program are fee simple transactions. Thank you to Alaska and Oklahoma. Those are two states that we do our most volume. So you can see by the numbers, the number of loans that we have endorsed on fee simple, the number of loans we've endorsed on allotted and tribal trust. Allotted is extremely low, and for that we are disappointed. Again, ideally, we'd like to do more lending on the reservation and help individuals who own their own land, i.e. allotted lands. We're working together as a team to make sure that we are working directly with the Bureau of Indian Affairs and other partners, so in fact we can do more lending on the reservation. Okay. Next. Okay, this is just a cumulative number. And again, the purpose of this is to show you what we've done since we started. This program started in February of 1997, and it truly was a trickle effect. The first couple of years, we were doing 5, 10, 20. I think we would conclude with maybe 100 to 200 loans in any given year. Now we obviously are exceeding those numbers, and we're at what I would say full capacity, right? This shows you the number of loans we've done cumulative on fee, allotted, and tribal trust. Okay. Again, I'd like to address the numbers on tribal trust. Would hope to see higher numbers. Well, we do appreciate seeing those. And again, the objective here is we're trying to create a market on the reservation, correct? As you all know that we take an appraisal on a cost approach and or market, but ideally someday we'd like to be able to do all of our approaches via market, meaning that we have a full and viable market on the reservation. Okay. Our operating area. For those of you that have done business with us, you know that we have a defined Indian operating area. Let me just reiterate, there will be no change for 2014. The numbers that are, or excuse me, the states that are in gold or yellow, depending on how you see color, means the entire state is an Indian operating area. So purposes of the Section 184 loan program, you as a lender can offer a loan on or off the reservation anywhere in that state. Okay? The red states. The purpose of the red state or the color is to identify that only specific counties and or reservations are eligible for lending. So it's very important that when you start or originate a loan and you see that it's in one of those red states, that you confirm or identify that that particular home is in fact in one of our operating areas. Okay? How do you do that? We have on our website, and again I'm going to provide to you today, is our list of participating tribes. That list of participating tribe includes on-off reservations as well as participating counties. So anytime you take a loan application in one of those red states, make sure that you cross-reference with our list of participating tribes. If you don't have access to that and or can't seem to find it or have a question, feel free to email any one of the staff members. We will identify for you in the states of red. White states. The white states, primarily, you'll see them on the East Coast, means we don't have a presence, okay? And let me explain why we don't have a presence. This is not a lender-driven or a HUD-driven. In order to participate in any particular state, the tribe has to allocate that to be an Indian operating area, okay? So if you see something so somebody presents a loan application, for example, in Ohio or Pennsylvania, you know you cannot participate or offer the 180 for a loan. We need to take a quick break, and for that I apologize. We have some technical assistance that we need. We'll be right back. Thank you. And we're back. Hi, everybody. Sorry for that break there. We had a little technical issue that we had to address. So let me pick up where I left off. So I was identifying the states, and I was identifying by colors. So where I was at was saying on the white states that we have no presence in these states. Again, that's not lender-driven or HUD-driven. So you as lenders, if you ever want to offer a loan in one of those states, then we would need to consult the tribe. We would address the tribe. We'd ask them to identify this as their Indian operating area. Okay? Now, just for purpose, geography, I know that there's 50 states, and all you're seeing is 49. So everybody's probably wondering, where is Hawaii? Hawaii has its own program, and Claudine, if you're out there, thank you very much. But Hawaii has the 184A, which means that you cannot offer a loan in Hawaii unless you utilize her program. Okay? So on to the next slide. Okay, this list here identifies our partners, and we have a variety of partners, but the three we want to address today is here. You as the lenders, and again, I said 310 of you have called in. Thank you very much. There's always a huge interest from the mortgage world or the lenders on our program, and for that we appreciate. A couple changes that we've made, and I know you're all not very happy with, but I want to address it, is one, we no longer include on our lender list all the individuals who work with that particular lender and or all the locations. So unfortunately, we are now asking that you all do your own marketing. So what do we offer? We do have a list of participating lenders. We update it quarterly. On that list, we'll identify your main branch, and we don't make that decision, you do. You tell us what is the main branch that you want us to advertise, the name, the location, etc. If you have a website, then you're going to provide us with your website, and in fact, we will make that available. And if in fact you have a 1-800 number. But again, going forward and seeing no change in this, because we're getting a lot of emails asking if we're going to go back to the old format, and the answer is no. We can no longer list individuals and or individual numbers, okay? So please keep us updated. If you have any changes on what you've provided us, you would send that to Michael Thorpe, and that should be on your presentation. If not, it's Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L, .T as in Tom, .Thorpe at HUD.gov. He is making the updates quarterly, and it's launched on our website. Okay. The second partner is, of course, the tribes, because as I had said on the previous slide, we cannot offer the 184 loan program without the tribe first telling us that they want to bring mortgage capital to their community, on or off the reservation. If it's on the reservation, they establish what we call legal infrastructure. They give us the lease, the lien procedures, foreclosure procedures, etc. We're currently partnering with about 185 tribes. There's over 500 federally recognized tribes throughout the United States. So we're not quite there yet, but we are working with tribes to expand our operating areas. Launched on our website is a list of the participating tribes. And again, when you're making a loan in a red state, a state that's colored red, it's important that you cross-reference that list, because that list will identify what is their Indian operating area. Okay? It's probably also a list you can use to market. You can contact the tribes and see if they having any kind of home ownership or any other kind of fairs or events where you as a lender can reach out and participate in that program. Okay? The third partner listed is the Bureau of Indian Affairs. And their role with the 184 loan is they're our title company. If we make a loan on a reservation, you don't get title from Stewart Title or some other kind of third-party entity. You're going to deal directly with the Bureau of Indian Affairs. As we progress today, Andrika's going to do a presentation or give you a little bit more detail on the BIA and their role. Okay? Most importantly on this site or this slide is their website. Okay? Their website is a really, really good website. I have to applaud them. If anybody's ever been to their site, it's user-friendly, it's updated frequently, and it provides really all the information you need to know on how to work with the BIA. I'd strongly encourage you not only to visit the site, but probably to bookmark it. Okay? Section 184 emails. Again, a majority, I think, of you are familiar with these and have utilized them. I just want to reiterate the importance. We've received a lot of compliments that by going to an email and having a direct email that we're more responsive and that you all are getting your answers detailed, quicker, and of course now you have them in writing, right? No more of that Deanna said. Oh. This first website, section 184 at HUD.gov. It's got a variety of purposes, okay? First and foremost, this is how you get your case number. This is where the whole process starts, correct? What is the purpose of a case number? Is to let us know that you've taken a loan application and you're ready to proceed. You have already identified somebody's an enrolled member of a federally recognized tribe and you want to reserve some funding. Okay? That case number should be emailed to this address. Okay? We do provide the option of faxing if in case for some reason you don't have access to email or your system is down. Please don't send both ways. If you email it, email it. If you fax it, you fax it. But sometimes what will happen is you'll email it and fax it, and we end up with duplicate case numbers, okay? We try to turn these as quick as possible. We'd like to provide your case number within 24 hours or less. If we're getting duplicates and numerous kinds of inquiries, clearly that slows us down, right? The correct form to use is a case number request form. On the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see a number, and that number is HUD 50131. That tells you that you have the right case number request form, okay? It's important that this form be typed. Please type it. We will accept handwritten, but again, it slows us down. Nothing personal, folks, but some of your handwriting is a little difficult, so bear with us, okay? Type them. Make sure it's completed in its entirety. There's a purpose for every single entry, right? That case number will ask if it's going to be underwritten by you as a lender. Are you sending it to HUD? It will identify the type of loan. Is it acquisition? If it's on reservation, is it fee simple? Is it construction? It asks for the specific address. Please put that in there. I will ask you this, it's not on the form, but if you know the county, if you would please write the county next to the address, because sometimes we have to stop to look up the county to make sure what the actual loan limit is. So if you know it, put it in, appreciate it. If you don't know it, don't worry about it, okay? The borrowers. Please identify all borrowers. Sometimes what we do is we receive the case number request form with only one borrower. If in fact you know you have two, please write them both in. Even if the second borrower is not an enrolled member. We think that sometimes what you're doing is just writing in the name of the person who's enrolled, but if in fact you have a co-borrower, they should be listed. Why? Because whatever we enter at this point will follow all the way to endorsement. And if you get an LG certificate that doesn't identify all the borrowers or the right address, then we have a problem, correct? So let's see if we can address it at the beginning as opposed to the end. Anything else in the case number request form? No? Okay, so that's pretty much all inclusive, okay? Lastly, this is a good opportunity if you're not sure if your applicant ID card is acceptable, okay? So when you send in the case number request form, if you have a tribal identification that you're not familiar with, you think it's about to expire, couldn't find them on the list of federally recognized tribes, send it with the case number request form. Just put a note on there and say, could you please confirm that this person is in fact eligible for this loan program? We and the main staff will review it. If we're in doubt, we'll reach out to our 184 team members out in the field. If in fact the person's not an enrolled member, we'll send you back the case number request form, obviously not assign a number, and let you know why we're not assigning a number. If they're eligible, you get the case number, you know you're good to go, okay? Second purpose of this email, cohorts, firm commitments, okay? This is specifically for lenders who are direct guarantee. Lenders that are direct guarantee that employ their own underwriting staff will obviously complete their own firm commitment. But because you don't have access to our system, which we identify as CHUMS, there's a worksheet that you need to complete. Again, you should have it. We'll provide it at the end of the session today. You will complete that worksheet, and that is what we use to enter into our system in order to generate you a firm commitment. The purpose of the firm commitment, obviously, is to assign a cohort number and reserve the funds, okay? Same, when you send in that form, you should send it as an attachment to this email. Do not email it and fax it. That's confusing. Make sure that you've identified what are your actual closing conditions, because whatever you provide on that form is what we're going to cut and paste into our system, correct? Make sure that form is signed. It must be signed. That tells us this is your final form, the underwriter has executed, and he or she is ready to proceed with it, getting a cohort, correct? Okay, so make sure that's signed. Thirdly, and of course maybe I should have addressed that in the beginning, when you send an email to the section 184 at HUD.gov, identify in the subject line that you're asking for a case number or that you're asking for a cohort, okay? And the reason we ask that is now we have two different offices that are assigning the case numbers, case numbers are coming either out of Washington, D.C. or Denver, Colorado. So when I or Michael Thorpe visit that email address, I can only pick up what are case number requests, and that way I'm not picking up cohorts. You don't want me erroneously to grab the cohorts because I'm not issuing those. Okay? Anything else, ladies? Nope. Okay, anything else? Oh, sorry, you guys can't raise your hand. Next slide. Okay, appraisals. We also have an email specifically for appraisals. When this was first developed, the intent was for you all to send us the appraisal electronically, because oftentimes when you send it in the underwriting file, it's not legible, the pictures aren't legible, et cetera. So we wanted you to email them to us. So if you don't have a legible appraisal, or if you have it electronically and you want to send it that way, feel free to do so. Make sure, again, on the subject line, you identify the case number, the name of the borrower, so that when we do print it or access it, we merge it with the correct underwriting file. Okay? However, the biggest purpose of this email that we've learned in the course of about a year and a half is, again, the underwriters, if they have a question on their appraisal. So if they're concerned about the approach, the comparables, anything to do with the appraisal, then what will happen is you ask us the question via this email. Okay? We are fortunate enough to still work with Lyle Conkle in our Wyoming office, and we're also fortunate enough to have some partners in the FHA office who we can then forward the email to, forward the appraisal to, and they will address what your issues or concerns are. Okay, so feel free to, or please continue to use that email address. Okay, and third, and I would say probably the most used, is our email address that is specifically for the direct guarantee lender. Okay, we have over 85 underwriters that are currently underwriting 184 loans. Okay, so not only do we have the HUD staff, but we have the 85 of you. A little bit later today, Valerie and Yvonne are going to go over specifically some roles and procedures of the direct guarantee underwriters. Okay, however, when you have questions, anything to do with underwriting, policy, interpretation of policy, waivers, if you have a request for a waiver, and or just a general question, then please use this email. Again, what normally happens is that we assign one underwriter a month or a quarter to monitor this email site, correct? So when the questions come in, she will either answer them immediately based on our written procedures, policies, et cetera. If, for example, it's a waiver or it's a policy interpretation, then what will happen is we come to committee. So let's say this month is Valerie, and Valerie's monitoring that box. So Valerie will either answer, or she'll send out an email to the other underwriters, and we'll do a very quick meeting. And the meeting will either be electronically via email, or we'll pick up the phone and we'll chat. And we'll come up with a decision or an answer, and then it'll be emailed back to you. Then what we do is we park those decisions or answers, and then at a later time, we try to share them with the group or incorporate them in any kind of policies or procedure changes. Okay? Okay. Some program updates. I probably shouldn't use the word updates. I think what we're trying to say here is just continuation, okay? Departure residence, which is probably the least favorite of everybody's. We get more complaints about this, and for that I apologize. But we're not going to eliminate this policy, okay? So there's been no changes. Again, we'll provide you today a copy of our departure residence. Just as a reminder, if you have somebody who's looking to purchase another home and they own a home and that home has a lien, any type of lien, doesn't have to just be a government lien, conventional, FHA, VA, et cetera, they have a mortgage. They must first meet the job relocation of 50 miles or greater or demonstrate an increase in family size in order to proceed, okay? So one of those has to be met. Then, of course, as you read through the body of the departure residence policy, you'll see what other items need to be met and how you need to defend that or support that in your underwriting file, okay? Second, again, we're going to provide to you is a reminder on our policy for non-occupying co-borrowers. We do allow non-occupying co-borrowers, but you cannot have a non-occupying co-borrower in order to offset bad credit. We see a lot where somebody, the originator of the loan, has bad or no credit, And so you try to bring in a non-occupying co-borrower, and that truly should not be the purpose of a non-occupying co-borrower, okay? Third, our Section 184 macaw. The biggest thing that we see consistently, and probably shame on us, we have so many versions of that macaw that oftentimes maybe we even haven't either properly updated you, or for some reason you're missing it. But going forward, please use the OMB edition. It's on the bottom right-hand corner. You'll see our HUD number. It's 50132. That is the most recent and the accurate macaw, okay? Now, once you've obtained the right copy, we ask that you type it. Please type it. Let it fill in. Please make sure that you put in you use the correct loan limits, which we'll address in a minute. And please make sure you complete it in its entirety. Oftentimes we'll get macaws that are not complete, and when it's not complete, it doesn't calculate correctly, right? So for example, if you leave off the interest rate or if you leave off the loan term, if you look to the right-hand side, it won't calculate the principal and interest, right? So the macaw is not complete. We're sticklers. We're very fond of this form, and we want it completed correctly. And last but not least, you need to sign it. And who signs it? The underwriter. Please don't have your processors, LOs, et cetera, sign it. It must be signed by the underwriter. Okay? Program limits. As Tom had indicated in the introduction, we changed our loan limits. We changed them in January of 2013. We no longer go by 150% of the FHA loan limit, which again is important where you use the right macaw. A previous edition of the macaw will ask you to do the 150%, and in some cases we see where you're using the new loan limits and then multiplying by 150. And of course that would make the loan way too high, right? Houston, we have a problem. So make sure you use the right loan limits. We're providing them to you, and they're also on our webinar, or excuse me, our website, okay? They again are sorted by state and by county, okay? Do not multiply them by 150%. If and when we change them, we'll of course notify you, and we'll launch them on our website. One other change, and we've tried to make the change on all of our checklists, but again, to remind you that we now require tax transcripts. Okay, there'd been a little bit of confusion. Some lenders thought we only needed them when the individual was self-employed, and that is not correct. We want 2 years tax transcripts for every loan, okay? 2 consecutive years. Make sure you order them from the IRS, put them in the file. Now, in addition to the tax transcript, we may, in fact, we as underwriters and or you as underwriters could ask for the actual tax return when somebody's self-employed. Why? Because of course, not only do we see what they submitted to IRS, but now we want to see all their entries, for example, on their Schedule C. Do they have depreciation, or do they have other items that can be added back to their income for qualifying purposes? Okay? So again, just a reminder, every loan has to have a tax transcript. Again, at the end of this webinar, we're going to provide you all the revised checklists, and on there it says tax transcripts. Right? Okay, we're going to take a break. Do we have? We're going to take is this one a 5-minute break? We're going to take a 5-minute break, and when we come back, we're going to go over direct guarantee. I apologize, it's a 10-minute break. So give us 10 minutes, and we'll be back. And again, we're going to switch speakers and go over direct guarantee. Thank you. And we're back. Hi, everybody. Hope you're out there. We're ready to resume. During the break, we did in fact get a few questions, so I'm going to address those. And the other thing I want to address is one of the questions that we received is, will this webinar be available at a later date? And the answer is yes. It will be archived and you can watch it. So if there's other people in your office that wanted to watch it or need the information, weren't available, they can do it that way. Secondly, the only PowerPoint that you have is the one that you're watching. You actually do not have it as an attachment. However, again, when the session is over, you'll have the PowerPoint as well as all of our forms that we're referencing during this session and or that we've made recent changes to. So again, you'll be able to go out to the site, collect everything, and we'll also host it on our website. And if you can't find it at either of those locations, feel free to email me. I'll zip it, put it in a zip drive, and send it off to you. Okay? Let me answer the questions that came in. One of them was when we were addressing as far as what states were operating states. The question was, does the enrolled member have to purchase a home in the state where they're enrolled? And the answer is no. So let me give an example. If I'm a member of the Navajo Nation and I'm from Arizona, and my job relocates me to the state of Washington or Oregon, could I purchase in either of those states? The answer is yes. A, I'm an enrolled member of a federally recognized tribe. I have evidence via my enrollment card. And B, the state of Washington or Oregon, the entire state is an operating area, so I could proceed. Okay? Where it gets a little tricky is if I'm a member of the Navajo Nation and I'm relocating to the state of Washington, could I buy on a reservation in the state of Washington? And the answer is probably no. And the reason it's no is because in order to purchase or build or buy a home on a reservation, I have to have an executed lease. 99% of the time, the tribe will only lease land to a member of their tribe. So even though I'm Navajo and enrolled, for example, the Yuroks or Yakimas, excuse me, are not going to lease land to me. Okay? Hopefully that answers your question, whoever wrote that in. The next question that we received is, how many different types of macaws do we have? Okay, and that's a good question. Currently, we have 3 macaws. We have a macaw if the type of loan is for construction. We have a macaw if the loan is for refinance. And we have a macaw specifically to acquisitions. Okay? All 3 macaws are found on one form, if you will. And if you look at the bottom of the form, you'll see various tabs. You double-click that tab to retrieve the macaw that you need specific to your loan. Okay? Right. Okay, then we have some other questions that we want to address that we already had. So if you want to bring those up. This is one that we meaning the underwriters, receive quite often. And the question is if an applicant was self-employed and he or she changes employment to a W-2 job, do they have to have 2 full years? Okay? And the answer is no. The applicant must demonstrate or show 2 full years of employment, but it could be a combination of self-employed and W-2. Okay? If there's a gap from self-employed to W-2 of 30 days or greater, please make sure that your file addresses that gap of employment. The borrower, the applicant, must identify why it is he or she had the gap. Okay? Now on the reverse, first of all, before I do that, for further clarification or documentation, please refer to Chapter 5, Section 6. That's where you'll find this answer. Okay? Now, keep in mind, though, this is self-employed to W-2. Could you go W-2 to self-employed? The answer would be no, right? Because if you're self-employed at the time you require or request a loan, then you must have been self-employed for a minimum of 2 years. And we require evidence via tax returns, whether it's a corporation tax return or a Schedule C. Okay, but we want to know, in fact, that you have been able to manage your business for a minimum of 2 full years. Okay, next question. If an applicant owns a home free and clear, would he or she have to comply with the departure residence guidelines? And the answer is no, right? The departure residence guideline is to prevent what we call in the industry buy and bail, right? So if somebody currently owns a home and they have a lien on that home, we want to make sure they're not attempting to purchase a second home and then bail on the first. Why would somebody bail, right? Well, the obvious answer would be if you have a lien that's $200,000 and a recent evaluation shows that home's worth 100, correct? And unfortunately, that's been happening all too often, right? I think it's starting to correct itself. Values are coming up, but historically that was the problem, and which is why we administered this departure residence policy, okay? HUD 184 is not a loan. I know FHA and conventional has the same concern, is that they want to prevent a buy and bail, okay? But for our purpose, if the home is free and clear, they could proceed. Departure residence policy does not apply. Okay, and thirdly, is Section 184 a credit score driven program? Okay, this question comes in frequently, and more so from the applicant. You as a lender, I think, are already familiar and know the answer to this, but a lot of times the applicant calls us. And so the answer is no, right? Section 184 does not credit score. Okay, we do not get the tri-merge credit report, we don't look at the numeric number and base our decision on a numeric number. And again, lenders that have been working with us for numerous years know that we can have somebody with a 700 credit score and be denied. We can have somebody with a 600 credit score and be approved, right? We are doing a manual underwrite. And via that manual underwrite, we are looking at their credit, their assets, their capacity, collateral, et cetera. We're painting a picture, right? Those of you who have been at any of my training sessions know that I always say that underwriting is an art, it is not a science, correct? Okay, but we do not credit score. We do recognize, though, that you all have overlays, sometimes that you have to adhere to, whether it's with your investors or internally within your own organization. So if, in fact, you credit score means that you may not be able to take a 184 application, right? If you have an applicant who, say, has a 600 credit score and your minimum is 639 or 640, what happens to that individual? You're not able to assist them. If you contact us and or if the borrower contacts us, we'll refer them to another participating lender and or our list of participating lenders, okay? So again, HUD 184 does not credit score. Although we can't prevent you from sometimes imposing credit scores, we in fact never will. Okay, at this point, I am going to switch presenters. You are now going to get to hear from Yvonne Johnson and Valerie Wright, and they're going to talk about direct guarantee. Thanks.
Thank you, Deanna.
You're welcome.
Okay. First, if I may take a quick second to say aloha to my buddy Claudine. A special shout out to you. Thank you. Hi, I'm Valerie Wright, and I am so excited for this opportunity to greet you via webinar on one of the parts of my job that, believe it or not, I like to do. It brings a wonderful diversion, and I get to meet so many different people out there in the field that I have the pleasure of calling my partners. So thank you. Yes. Thank you much. Yvonne and I work diligently on bringing you our program, our policies, and our procedures so you can act perfectly on our behalf in underwriting our loan. And again, we thank you. So just to go through some of the processes again with you, what we're looking for and what you can expect of us. Okay, first I'm going to speak to the new DG underwriters, DG standing for direct guarantee. It's very simple. We have credentials that is required before we can start the process. And usually the process starts by either your supervisor or the owner of the company or even yourself sending a request via email directly to me or sometimes to Deanna, just inquiring about the process and wanting to be a candidate for the training. That can either be a new DG or if you have been previously approved and been out of the loop for 6 months or more, that would require recertification, again, going through the test case process as well, okay? With that, we require a copy of your resume, most current resume, your social security number, and with that, we check your CAVERS, your LDP, and your GSA, just to make sure you're not disbarred at all from the program of underwriting a government loan, okay? Once I see clearance of that, you are then sent a letter, email actually, invitation, inviting you to take part in a conference call that we hold once a month, the third Thursday of the month, second or third Thursday of the month. And we invite the underwriters, managers, supervisors, and closers, those people that are intricate in underwriting, packaging, and submitting that file to our offices for review and issuance of the certificate after closing. The test case submission process requires for new DG underwriters a submission of 5 case binders. Okay, now within those binders, you can have a loan that you deny. It's very, very important that when you submit that file, that one, is complete, and that the correct McCall indicates your decision, be it approved or rejected. Very, very important, as Deanna had indicated, that you sign as the underwriter and date it, okay? Many occasions, I must say, I have received McCalls that have not been indicated as a decision or signed, and they've gone back to you. And it's important that I know that I concur with your decision, okay? That's why I enforce that I see that on the McCall, okay? Once we've gone through the 5 review and you receive 5 firm commitments or a letter indicating that I concur with your decision to decline a loan, you will get a formal letter of release. You may get, no, you definitely get an email with my words in the memo subject matter saying congratulations. That's a yay moment for me that I share with you, okay? It's a congratulatory moment, and email goes out to every one of my staff members as well. So we're over here partying with you, believe me, okay? And that's the truth, okay? And we applaud your efforts and thank you again for your commitment. Now what's expected of our staff, Yvonne and I, once we get the test case file, we ensure that the documents that are needed, both credit and property documents, are in place, and we review them. We will either issue a firm commitment, a conditional commitment, or a suspense letter. The suspense letter being the worst of the 3. Happily, I can say, I don't know about you, but I can actually say I don't send out too many suspense letters. I will send a conditional. Let me make mention of the conditional, however. Please do not mistake a conditional for a firm. A conditional commitment cannot close a loan because you do not have a cohort number. That cohort number does not reserve funds. I must reiterate, please do not close a loan with a conditional commitment, okay? But you will get that received after we allow 3 to 5 business days once we receive that file to turn that back over to you, okay? Again, once we go through the 5 test cases, everything is fine, you'll get your release, and then we will prepare you for the endorsement submission of that file for LG certificate issuance, okay? And that's a bit, I guess that's it for that point. I'll pass it on to Yvonne to elaborate further on the process.
And hello again, I'm Yvonne Johnson again from the Atlanta, Georgia office. And I want to join Valerie in thanking you for all you do on behalf of Section 184. And to say to you while we're together that I am enormously proud of the work we have completed as partners, and I look forward to continuing good work in the future. I'd like to talk to you all, but especially to the underwriter partners out there, about some of the underwriter issues that continue to present themselves in the forms of questions in the question box or direct emails to all of us as underwriters. One of the most prominent being, when should an underwriter refer a file to HUD for underwriting by a HUD underwriter? Obviously, when a file falls into the category of something that we have not empowered the underwriters to process externally, it should always be submitted to a HUD underwriter. And I'll just raise for you a few of those categories. One is a request for a purchase of a condominium, a request for a tribal loan or a block of tribal loans Typically, most trust transactions, although we are very much aware that many of you have expressed an interest in processing your trust transactions, and at some future date, we may be coming back to you with technical assistance as needed as to how to do those. Authorizations, um, approvals for debt to income ratios in some instances, single closed loans, and as we mentioned earlier, if a file has a corporate overlay that is not necessarily found as an approval in the Section 184 handbook, then we would expect that file to be submitted to a HUD underwriter with an exception form signed by the approved direct guarantee underwriter and a date to give some indication that that file did go through an internal review and the decision was made to submit it to HUD. There are what I would like to add here, however, is that we do have an internal concern about a category of files that we do see, and that is a file that clearly is non-conforming in several areas that are referenced in our HUD handbook in Section 5, and a decision is transferred from the direct guarantee underwriter to the HUD underwriter to actually decision a file that we believe should have been decisioned externally with the lender rather than internally. What we want to make sure we say is that we do support the approved direct guarantee underwriters. We support your decisions. We are partners with you in reaching the decision-making process. However, you are fully empowered to make decisions based on the policies and technical assistance we've given you to make approvals decisions, but also rejection and denial decisions for whatever the reason where appropriate. Send out your denial letters from that point and not issue the file, not submit the file to HUD. So we will continue to work with you and ask your cooperation to fully define the demarcation line between what should be submitted to HUD underwriters for HUD underwriting and what should be retained externally for internal review. We will also like to remind our direct guarantee underwriters that there are authorizations and approvals that we have empowered you with, and we support you wholeheartedly in using that authority to order your cohort numbers. And again, I'll remind you that the document that we are strongly encouraging you to submit is the draft HUD commitment document with a signature and a date with all of your conditions to Michael Thorpe and Scott Liberty in Washington, D.C. We have empowered you to close a loan after and only after, I will reiterate, you have received a cohort number. We have empowered you to submit all of your endorsement files to us for issuance of your loan guarantee certificate. And I'd like to just add a moment of clarity here to what we are looking for with the submission of your endorsement files. If you are a direct guarantee underwriter and you have approved a file and you have closed the file, in order to receive your direct guarantee certificate, you are asked to submit the entire loan origination file with all of the relevant attachments and documentations, as well as a complete loan closing file with the appropriate checklist. We strongly encourage you to stack those documents in that file in the appropriate checklist order because it provides an added level of efficiency. if a HUD underwriter has approved your file, we are then asking you to submit only the closing documents to the appropriate address as referenced in your HUD-issued commitment. The entire copy of the origination file is already on file, and it will then spare you duplication of that file, and it makes it a lot easier to merge only the pertinent documents needed to endorse your loan. For all of our direct guarantee underwriters who are in the test case phase, you too are asked to only submit to your reviewer for the test case process your closing file with all the appropriate documentation. Your file also is retained in-house, and it would prevent duplication for you to submit an entire origination file.
Excuse me, Yvonne. Can I? I'd like to add that what Yvonne was talking about, and when you send your firm requestment form, that draft form to Scott or Mike, after they issue you a firm commitment and a cohort, if there's a change in an increase in interest rate, an increase in loan amount, or an addition or deletion of a borrower, you send that back to HUD prior to closing. Other changes should not come back to us. We don't have the staff or the capacity.
Right.
So if you have a firm commitment, and again, no increase in mortgage, no increase in interest, and no change in borrower, then you as the underwriter are responsible for making that change, redoing or finalizing your MCAW, and ensuring that all changes were submitted with the endorsement file. Thank you.
And for our direct DG underwriters who are either currently in the test case process or pending requests to begin the test case process, Valerie's going to share some pertinent information with you about orientation so that when you are ready to underwrite loans, hopefully you will have clarity as to how you process your closing files.
Okay, thank you. Just to continue where I left off regarding the process, I did mention the requirements for the new DG underwriters and the number of files that's required to submit. However, I failed to mention for those underwriters that are already approved and been out of the loop for about 6 months, the requirement for those underwriters, 3 files submitted. Now, please keep in mind that number 5 for new DG underwriters and number 3 for previously approved is not a number that's etched in stone. Could you submit less than 5 if I see that maybe the first 3 are good? Yes, you can fly with your release. Could it be less than 3 for for a previous underwriter? Yes. Consequently, it could be more as well. So those numbers are just benchmarks. We look for it to be 5 and no more than 5 and no more than 3. But there could be some flexibility as the need warrants. To go a little bit into what's required in what you will find with the conference call, again, we require that the underwriters partake in that call and bring in the closers. And why I say closers, because sometimes once the underwriter is complete with that file, it's passed on to another staff member, and the underwriter has no idea what goes on from that point. So we need to know that the closer as well knows the requirement as far as the stacking order. They are to get a copy of our list of exactly what we're looking for when that file is presented to us. We separate the need for test case files as far as the documents. Please, and I reiterate, please only send the closing documents on test case files because we already have the credit package, so we don't need duplicates. Please only send the closing documents. You will be required to send the whole credit package once the underwriter has been released, and you'll send your package to your point of contact person, and we'll talk about that a little later. Okay. You will also receive a packet, usually prior to your conference call. In that packet, you'll get a copy of the forms that we use, the MCAWs, the departure letters, the lender submission, and on and on and on. When you receive that package, take a look at it. Any questions, jot it down, and we can address those questions during our conference call. okay? And then you'll know, again, as far as the turn times and what to expect, 3 to 5 days for both underwritten and any conditions that you do send to us. Turn time is the same, okay? You'll be given a list of who your point of contact person will be, their name, their address, and their phone numbers once you have been released from that process, okay? And that's very important to make that relationship with that person, because they will be the person that you will really be in contact with once those files are submitted for endorsement. Any questions, any issues, anything, make a relationship with that person from that point on, okay? As well as the questions you may have that can go to email. But it's very important to know your point person for that process, okay? And I think that would be it for that period
Valerie.
during the call.
Well, I'd just like to take just a moment to discuss what the process should be when a loan is denied or when a case number is no longer needed because the borrower no longer wishes to proceed under Section 184, the property is not appropriate, or for whatever reason, that loan does not move forward. It is extraordinarily important, especially in fiscal terms that we find ourselves in, to cancel all case numbers that were issued directly with HUD and all firm commitments, if cohort numbers as it were, that have been issued. And that is to be done by sending written notification via email to either Michael Thorpe or Scott LaLiberty with the specific borrower's name, case number, and the reason that you will no longer need those numbers. That will be an enormous aid in allowing us to do appropriate funds management to make sure the credit authority that is needed for the viable projects will always be there. So we absolutely request your assistance with that, and we can better serve you. I'd like to raise for you now some direct guarantee underwriter resources. The first one is the Section 184 Processing Guide, and I've worked so closely with many of you, and what you all will know about most of us at this table is that when we provide you with technical assistance, we try very hard to give you the references in the body of the guide documents so that when that issue reemerges, you will have a resource point. I strongly encourage all of you to keep a copy of the guide at desk level. And I laugh when I say desk level because even though I'm one of the HUD underwriters, my guide is at desk level, and I need that for some of the good questions you send in to me all the time. So to me, a guide is a partner's best friend. So the processing guide, please use it. I encourage you. To those of you who have trouble finding it, send that as a question, and we'll give you the website where you can find that. We have an appraisal mailbox, and that number is referenced for you. And what I want to tell you about the references, especially the mailboxes, is that we take these very seriously. We access these many times during the day because we know that time for you is money. And when a question comes from one of you, the person assigned to that mailbox actually does make that a priority. So please use that. I think you'll find it to be a positive and effective resource tool. The technical assistance mailbox, a salute to all of you for using that. You have helped make that a learning tool for ourselves as well, with the well thought out, detailed questions that you send to the mailbox. Thank you for that. Some of those questions have caused us to find a need to clarify existing policies, to look at policies and determine if they're appropriate for the markets that we in. So keep those cards and letters coming to that resource. We have given you the number for the FHA Resource Center for your property evaluation questions only. And we feel like this number is important because many of you do realize at one time we had direct assistance from an FHA appraiser who was to us another team member, and we've lost that to give that particular partner a better opportunity to do better things for HUD. So we have what we think is a resource. We won't call his name, but if you've ever used him, it can't replace him, but it'll help you with that. And then, of course, there is the underwriting staff. When we say that our phones are available to you, our emails are available to you, we say that to you with all honesty and sincerity. And most of you who use the underwriting staff for technical assistance questions find us to be responsive. You will notice, however, that we're there last, and that was because we firmly believe if you can use the resources we've allocated to you, most likely you will find the answer to your questions among them. But if you can't, we are here to help you.
Just have one last quick comment. Deanna opened by saying that effective October 2013, the lending training will be put on you, the lender, with the exception of DG. Okay, that will stay in place. Okay, going forward until further notice. Thank you.
Okay. I'd also like to chat with you a few moments about the endorsement process and submission of your endorsement files to HUD. I will begin this process by saying probably with everything that you do with us, I would bet that you consider this process to be among the most valuable because this is the completion of all the work that you've done, and it represents your commitment to us. Where should you ship your endorsement file once a loan has been closed? And that question comes to us a lot, and it should come to us a lot more. And we can say the reason for that is because we receive files in all of the offices that we actually do have to reroute in order for them to be processed efficiently. And we know what that represents for you is a loss of time, and time again is money in our industry. So where should an endorsement file be sent? If the endorsement file was approved and a cohort and firm commitment was issued by a HUD underwriter, the mailing address should be referenced in the body of the HUD firm commitment. I'll say that again. I do realize before I say this that there is not always and necessarily a coordination of partners internally from the partner who approved the loan, from the closers who package and ship the loan. But it is important to say that we believe that the overall oversight responsibility for making sure everything that is needed in the file and that file arrives at its appropriate destination begins with the direct guarantee underwriter, who then becomes the team leader for the partnership inside the lending organization. So if it is HUD underwritten, should be sent to the address referenced in the body of the file. If it is DG underwritten, at this point in time, each of you as our partners should have made very close connection and contact with the person who is your point of contact within HUD. We've had introductory meetings with you. We've met with all of you as a team, and so those files should be sent to the specific reviewer assigned to your lending organization. However, if you are a DG lender in test case process, not only should your origination file be sent to either Valerie or myself, and you know who your assigned reviewer is always, we hope, at the end of the orientation call. You then send your endorsement file only, and I will reiterate, your endorsement file only directly to your reviewer, who will then review it for compliance with the policies, procedures, and with the firm commitment that was issued. And the loan guarantee certificate will be issued directly back to you from the reviewer. Once you leave test case status, you receive your hooray letter from either Valerie or myself. You then send all of your endorsement files that you are now independently approving, and congratulations to you for that, to your internal Section 184 contact person assigned to your lending organization. When the file should be shipped to us no later than 60 days from the loan closing date. That's important, because we consider it to be a late file subject to fees and penalties after the 60-day period. If a file arrives 60 days after its closing date, and we always can tell from your note, then you will need to provide a payment history. It is considered to be a late endorsement, and at that point, all of the late endorsement processing, as referenced in your processing guide, becomes applicable. Something that is extraordinarily important is that your fee must be paid after closing to the pay.gov using the pay.gov process. We are not able to issue any loan guarantee certificates unless there is documented evidence that the fee has been received. We encourage you to include a copy of the confirmation you received from the system when you pay your fee. It should be in the front of your endorsement file and submitted with that file, so that we have a record of when you paid it, if there is ever a need to track it, if it's not credited for some reason, as there has been. We discussed the mortgage payment history, and if we ask for mortgage payment history for late endorsement, it will be required to date, obviously, and an evaluation of whether that file is eligible or not for a loan guarantee certificate will be made. And there are files that we receive when we review them that are really not eligible for endorsement at that time because of missing documentation, and that is due to outstanding items. And I want to raise the missing documentation and outstanding items is an area of concern for us. We know it's an area of concern for you, but one that we fully believe is completely fixable, as it were. There are checklists. Many of the missing items that we see when we review a file occur because there is no checklist to prompt whomever is packaging and processing that file as to what items should be there. When a file comes in for endorsement review and items are missing, it goes into suspense. That no further action is taken. We notify you immediately at the end of the review as to what the items are. We request those items, and then we allow up to about 30 days. We strongly and fully and in partnership encourage you to submit those documents to us within the 30-day period to prevent further action from the file. When the files come in for the internal review process, and it is assigned to a reviewer, we must require a lender contact sheet with each file so we know who to call and whom to contact. One of the things that occurs mostly with the files that I review is that I don't know who to contact sometimes to request documentation. So if you, as the direct guarantee underwriter, would perform in-house as the team leader and work with your processes and work with the closers to send us complete files, then you have our commitment to process those files as efficiently as possible and to get your loan guarantee certificates to you quickly.
Okay, so we'll talk again about the submission of the files, the proper order. As I stated earlier, we're looking for complete file packages for test case specific. Please only send, again, I have to repeat, please only send underwriters for yourself. Underwriters, please tell your closers to please only send the closing documents for test case only, okay? I do not need a whole credit package. However, once you have been released, please send the full credit package, both property and the credit, okay, in the correct order, all right, to your appointed person of contact, all right? I need to also stress that we're looking for the final documents. I'm looking for final McCaw. Oftentimes, you know, with underwriters, sometimes you go through changes, you know, during the transaction. And we understand that. But when you send your final package, please be sure to send me the very last, the very final McCaw that will match the note and your firm commitment, okay? Oftentimes we do see a discrepancy in our package when we get them, which unfortunately delays the processing of issuing the loan guarantee cert, okay? So it's important to get all the ducks in a row when sending your final package, okay? The endorsement checklist as a test case reviewer, you'll get that in your package. If in the event you don't have it, please shoot us an email or a call or something. We'll get it to you to make sure you have it. It's very important that it's submitted in the proper order. I know Yvonne can probably concur. It helps me to zoom to those pages really quickly to get the review done in a timely fashion and get those certs back out to you. So it's very important that it's submitted in the proper order, okay? The LG certs are submitted to you electronically. Back when I started, I guess 2 years ago, they were sent out via mail. But we're moving up into the 21st century. How about that? Okay? So we're sending things over electronically. Yay. If in the event you don't receive it, again, pick up the phone, call your POC, you know, find out what's going on with the status with your LG cert. Okay? We encourage that. You will also note a change with the certs. They no longer disclose a full Social Security number. That's part of the Privacy Act, where we're getting in gear with that as well. You will only see the last 4 digits of the borrower's Social Security number, okay? The rest of the numbers will be X'd out, okay? Any questions, any concerns, any comments you may have regarding that process, please address them to Section 184 DG questions.gov, okay? But again, we're here to answer questions. The test case process for the endorsement is just as important to Yvonne and I as the actual reviewing of the file, okay? The whole process needs to run just as should flow just as easily as the review of the initial file prior to closing, okay? And I think we're ready to move on.
I think we have questions before we go to. I believe we've had some questions, and so Krista Johnson is going to read those now.
The first question we have is, if a sponsor denies a file and the lender disagrees with the decision and insists the file goes to HUD, what should the procedure be?
And I like to answer that question. If a sponsor denies a file, the underwriter for that sponsor is an approved DG lender for HUD. I have stated at the beginning of our conversation together today that we fully support our direct guarantee lenders, and we as the full team of HUD underwriters believe that that is a denied file. We would like the partners of our sponsors to honor the sponsor's decision and not submit those files to HUD because HUD has decisioned the file. The sponsor represents HUD. And thank you for the question.
Our next question is along the same question of denials. The question states, do we send our denial of a case to Michael Thorpe to cancel the case numbers? And will a new case number be able to be issued if the borrower goes to another lender?
Thank you for that question. I'll go ahead. If a lender denies a loan, then we ask that you email that box where you received your case number and or your cohort, identify the case number, the applicant's last name, and identify that you're denying it. You don't have to give us your full details, but you can disclose denied for credit, denied for evaluation, denied for assets. We will enter that information into our CHUM system. So in the system, we will cancel the case number, and in a lower box, we'll identify that in fact it was denied, as opposed to being canceled. If at a later time, that applicant tries to go to another lender, and we go to enter their name should be cross-referenced, and that would prevent that from being, prevent from another case number being assigned, okay? Thank you.
The next question came in from Alaska, and it states, Valerie said we have to send condo loans to HUD for approval. We have been told that the DG underwriter can do their own condo loans in Alaska.
Okay, I think that was Yvonne that may have said that. I don't know.
We'll answer this one together. You're going to add names, are you?
Well, we're currently approving FHA-approved condos, first and foremost, okay, without HUD review, okay? A condo that is previously FHA approved, as you will note on their website, okay, we're fine. Now, as far as Alaska.
Yeah, it's Alaska. We, and Valerie's absolutely right. And one of the things that I mentioned the DG lenders are not authorized to do is underwrite condo loans. I should have said, except for in the state of Alaska. And that reason is because the approval requirements in the state of Alaska far exceed the approval requirements and the overlays that the Section 184 program places on condominium properties. So we accept those because we have a lot more detailed submission to the state of Alaska Housing Finance Agency. So underwriters in the state of Alaska, we hope, are happily approving loans that include condominium properties.
Okay, we have another question here. It states, will the webcast be available online later for viewing?
And the answer is yes. The webcast will be available later online for viewing. It will be archived. And we will provide the information to you as far as how to access that. Thank you.
Is there a PDF version of the 184 Handbook Guidelines available for download?
Wow, way to stump the underwriters. You know what? Currently, the answer is no. However, when we provide a updated version, we will surely convert that to PDF. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Any more questions, Krista? Okay. Okay, now we're going to switch. Andrika Wagstaff will be doing a presentation on the Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Hello, everyone. I'm Andrika Wagstaff, and I've been asked to speak on BIA's roles and responsibilities for the Section 184 program. The BIA is a federal government agency inside of the Department of Interior. The Department of Interior has partnered with HUD, the Office of Native American Programs, to assist the tribes and their members with housing assistance. This presentation here is not a catch-all, where I just want to give you information. Feel free to email me. My hopes is that you can understand the BIA and their roles and responsibilities, and our hopes is that the lenders will do more Section 184 loans on tribal land. The BIA serves as a trustee for tribal trust land. Tribal trust lands are held in trust by the United States government for the use of the tribe. The BIA, they approve and record leases and mortgages, and they provide certified TSRs to the lenders on mortgages done on allotted land and tribal trust land. Allotted lands are kind of different when it comes to BIA. Again, this is not a catch-all. You can email me and I will explain why. But allotted land loans, mortgages, must go through the BIA for their review and approval. But we can discuss that if you email me. The BIA has land, title, and record offices, which we refer to as LTRO. They're located in 8 of the 12 regional offices. In these 8 regional offices is 98 realty offices that is known today to us as the agency. This is the agency's roles and responsibilities is for our lenders to send in their written requests to receive the initial TSRs as well as the getting their mortgage recorded. These 98 realty offices is located throughout the United States. Each realty office do a little something different, but they all have the same guidelines. And I know if you've done loans on tribal trust, you're having issues with trying to get the TSRs. And today, I'm working closely with trying to establish a relationship with these 98 realty offices so that we can move these TSRs and getting them recorded a lot faster so we can get your loan guarantee certificate to you in a more timely manner. And we do apologize for this delay. Okay, the 8 land title and records offices hold over 200,000 tracts on Indian trust and restricted land. These certificates that they hold, we call them title status reports. Now, the initial certified TSR must be requested from the BIA at the time of the loan application. The initial TSR has to be certified, and the reason why you get this is kind of sort of like the preliminary title policy report. You need to have that in order for us to do the loan. The Section 184 policy is that the initial certified TSR must not be older than 6 months or less for allotted and 12 months or less for tribal trust. If you have any questions about the dates on these TSRs, please do not hesitate to email me and I will explain it to you further. Hopefully, coming up, we'll have a webinar strictly for doing loans on tribal trust land, because this is a lot of information and I'm running through it, but if you have any questions, I can slow it down and explain to you in detail what you need to know. The certified TSR is required by the Lending Institute to verify that the loan applicant has acquired a leasehold interest on tribal land, or that the loan applicant has total ownership of the trust land, and that the title is clean and clear of any liens against the property so that the loan application process can move forward. The final certified TSR an endorsement. Once the loan has closed, you, the lender, will need to send a written request into one of the BIA's 98 realty offices. Let me explain these realty offices. The Department of Interior has a tribal directory that comes out every year. In this tribal directory, if you email me, I will send you the link to this tribal directory. It has all the regional directors in all 98 of the BIA realty offices, which is known in this book as BIA representatives. They are the superintendents that sign the release for the Land and Title Office to record your mortgage. The realty office will need to know that it's a Section 184 mortgage that you're requesting. In your letter, you need to let them know that it's a Section 184 home loan mortgage. They also need to know the tract number and the land and tract number. The address you can let them know, but they do their search in their system, known as TAMS, through the tract and land number. This tract and land number is located on the front page of your initial certified TSR. If you have questions about locating it or what to include in your letter, again, please don't hesitate to give me an email. Send me an email. Before the Section 180 loan guarantee can be issued on tribal mortgages, we must receive a copy of the TSR showing that the borrower's mortgage was recorded. And if the mortgage is being refinanced, the TSR must show that the first mortgage was paid off, removed, and released. We have a lot of refinances on tribal land, and I know you have got the recorded TSR, and you sent it in to me. However, if there are two mortgages for the same borrower for the same parcel of land, showing on a TSR, we cannot issue the loan guarantee certificate. We must see that the first mortgage was released and removed. And in order to do that, the certification of mortgage, I know that some are getting in record with the county, and I'm not going to say don't do that, but the satisfactory of mortgage and the reconveyance documents must be sent into the BIA along with a copy of the note. They need true copies of the note, the riders, the lease, and they need a copy of the initial TSR that they sent you in the beginning. So when you send them in these documents, they'll record it and they will release the first mortgage. Again, this is not a catch-all. If you have any questions and or concerns, please feel free to email me or send a message to the Section 180 DG questions, and I'm sure it will be forwarded over to me. Again, thank you.
Thank you, Andrika. Okay, what you're seeing now is a list of resources from the BIA.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to address on those?
Yeah. BIA in the Federal Register as of March the 3rd, I believe, 2013, the notice states that there are 566 federally recognized tribes. They are 566 federally recognized tribes. However, there's only about 190 that's approved to do 184 section loans. There are 12 regional offices. However, only 8 of these offices, which are the land and title and record offices, handle the tracts for TSRs on tribal land. I think that's it.
The only thing I'd like to add on that list of federally recognized tribes, the BIA issues that list annually, every year, and the last one came out in May of 2013, okay? And for lenders, oftentimes if you receive a tribal ID card from an individual and you're not sure that this tribe is a federally recognized tribe, then you would refer to this resource. Use some caution. If you're looking for a tribe, and say, for example, the tribe is Choctaw, so initially you'll go to the Cs, because this list is alphabetically. If you don't see it under the Cs, try searching under the. Okay, some of the tribes were listed with the word the first. So when you initially don't see it, put the word the and look again, okay? If your tribal member is not listed on this list of federally recognized tribes, or a member of 5 state recognized tribes, which I'll address in a minute,
Right.
then he or she is not eligible to proceed. Okay, and the state recognized tribes, stay with me here, folks. Halawa-Saponi, the Lumbees. Somebody got them in writing? Okay, I'm stumped. Hold on. The Halawa-Saponis, the Lumbees,
Kahar,
Kohar,
Wakama.
the Wakama, and the Moa Band of Choctaw. All of these state recognized tribes, individuals who are members of those tribes are eligible to apply for a 184 loan. And the reason being is these tribes actually receive what we call NAHASDA funds, Native American Housing and Self-Determination Act, which makes them eligible for 184 loans. Okay. Okay. Frequently asked question that we have is how do you verify if the applicant is a tribal member? And do both applicants have to be a member of the tribe? Okay, and the answer is, I've somewhat already addressed that, saying first and foremost, you can determine if they're eligible by receiving a copy of their ID card and cross-referencing it with the list of federally recognized tribes. Only one of the applicants has to meet this criterion. So if you have a co-borrower, he or she can be non-Indian, or he or she could be not enrolled. Okay, that is acceptable. As you can see, here's a list of federally recognized tribes that I was struggling to learn or recite off the top of my head. Use your resources, right? There you go. So if they're a member of one of these state recognized tribes, again, you can proceed. Okay, here's a list of forms of different types of forms to confirm that somebody's enrolled. One of the things that we see quite often is a photo tribal ID card or a tribal ID card without the photo, okay? The ID card identifies the name of the tribe, it identifies their enrollment number, normally has like the seal of the tribe and or signed by a representative of the tribe, okay? In situations where there's information on both sides, make sure that your file includes the front and back of the tribal ID card, okay? Other tribes, and I'll use the Navajo for a reference, they don't issue tribal ID cards, they do it in a letter or a narrative format. So in this particular situation, you'll see where somebody's enrolled with that particular tribe, you'll see their seal on the top left or top right-hand corner, and again, it is signed, identifies the enrollment number, and oftentimes the blood quantum. Let me state here that HUD 184 doesn't determine enrollment. A lot of times we'll get inquiries from a loan officer and or a tribal member that asks, how do you get enrolled with a particular tribe and or what is the necessary blood quantum? And again, we will refer them back to their tribe, and the tribe makes a determination of who is or is not enrolled, what is applicable blood quantum, etc. Okay? Sometimes you'll receive what's called a CDIB card, which stands for, Certification Degree of Indian Blood.
Right.
This is not an acceptable form. It does not determine enrollment.
Right.
Okay? In situations where you're not familiar, feel free to, again, send that identification that you've received. Ideally, you should send it at the same time you're requesting a case number or prior to requesting a case number, right? Send in that identification. We will attempt to answer it and or we'll refer it to our staff members out in the field and confirm if they're able to proceed. Okay. Questions from the audience?
We have another question that's come in, and it says, please address your policy on collections. Also, particularly an older collection that has been paid off in the last 12 months.
Okay, I'll address that, thank you. Okay, for DG underwriters, you have been empowered, as we indicated before, to make a decision, to underwrite with prudence your decision on why you're going to approve that loan. Now, there is guidance regarding collections. However, we encourage you to look at that guidance as a benchmark and review that whole file and the integrity. For example, you may have someone where LTV is good, good credit scores, even though we're not a credit score driven program, but it's an indication of the character of that borrower. You may have reserves. You may see on the credit report, everything is fine with the exception of one blemish. That blemish could be a collection. It could be a medical. It could be within a year. It could be within a few months. we encourage you to look at the whole picture, okay? And not to ding the borrower based on that one collection. However, if you do see on the credit report a history of collections, be it over the past 3 or 4 years, it could have been something that reoccurred. And then you may see that they don't have a good history of paying their rents. You pretty much have an indication that that collection pretty much follows suit of them not being a credible borrower. So we encourage you to look at the big picture. Now you may ask yourself, with a collection, be it one, is it over $1,000? Is the borrower required to pay or not? We ask that all collections are paid prior to or at closing, especially over $1,000. And with that, it's because they may turn into a lien that we don't want to deal with in the future, okay? We're not here to play collection agents or attorneys, but at the same time, we have to protect our interests going forward in the property.
Valerie, may I just add something to that? I think the first part of that question said, what is our policy? And I told you I love the guide. And so Section 5.3 of the guide clearly states our policy on collections as being no collections within the 12 months prior to submitting the loan application. However, what I'll say is that after you've exercised your good judgment and made a decision, you do then need to reference your reasons for making an exception, as it were, to policy. In the exception section of your HUD commitment, we will reference it for you when we issue your cohort number in your firm and provide all of the backup documentation that helped you make that decision as part of your origination file.
Our next question is regarding cash-out refinances. It says, are cash-out transactions subject to a lower debt-to-income requirement? If so, what is the maximum DTI allowed?
I'll take that one. Thank you for the question. The debt-to-income requirements for cash-out refinances is 41%. That is the maximum. I will also say that there are no waivers/exceptions granted for a cash-out refinance transaction. Hence, the maximum debt-to-income ratio in force for the program applies without any waivers to that transaction, and it is 41%.
The next question is, where can I find a copy of the Section 184 Handbook Guide?
Go ahead. Well, it can be located on our website. However, I am happy to announce we are in the process of updating our website and our guidelines, so stay tuned. The best is yet to come.
As well as other resources. So everything that we've referenced today, and or if we maybe failed to reference it but meant to, we have added, for example, what we call OMB form numbers on every single one of our forms. Those are now available actually out at a HUD website. We're going to put them on the 184 website as well. We're also going to send them to you at the conclusion of this webinar. So we're going to send you the PowerPoint presentation. We're going to send every form applicable to the 184. We're going to send items that we reference, such as departure residents, co-borrowers, et cetera, final macaws, and our staff directory, participating lenders, tribes, et cetera. All that will be available. Again, it's going to be sent to you directly and or placed on our website. Okay. Also, as I had stated in the beginning, and I want to reiterate, we're also going to send you a evaluation/survey form. Again, there's 10 questions on there. The purpose is, did you like this form of presentation? Was this helpful? Whether from trying to get into the session and having some difficulties to what the session provided, future sessions you'd like to see, frequency. Would you like to see us do this, I would say quarterly, monthly would be pushing it, to be quite honest, but maybe quarterly, every 6 months, annually, et cetera. Let us know, okay?
I'll say, and the time of the month too. What's a good
Yeah.
time for you to,
Yeah.
to have such a webinar and the
And we-
length of the training?
Right, like for example, we wouldn't do it at the end of the month, right, when everybody's crunching to close out their books. I know all of you were anticipating and hoping to hear. Again, we're still not able to refinance in fee simple. For that, I apologize. We too were hoping that it would be something that had been approved and we were able to proceed. We are addressing that issue and we are hoping to resume refinancing, but as of today, I cannot give you the authority to proceed. But once we do know, you will know. Okay?
And I'd just like to add one thing about your survey. If that question is not there, let us know what length of time works best for you. 1 hour, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. That would be very much helpful as we anticipate moving forward in structuring technical assistance in this format. So thanks so much for sharing with us.
Okay, and this is just a list of resources that will be made available to you. Okay, location where to find out the approved forms, and there we go. So at this time, I would like to thank you. Thank you for your time,
Yes,
for your
indeed.
support,
Thank you.
participation, interest. We'll look forward to hearing your feedback. You didn't get to see her, but Krista Johnson was funneling our questions and making sure the PowerPoint slides appeared, so we want to thank her as well. And does anybody have anything else? Okay,
Look forward to further business with you. Thank
And
you.
I do too.
appreciate it.